Welcome to the Becoming a Principal podcast, a podcast for aspiring educational leaders. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Matt. We are high school administrators in Ontario, Canada, and we're excited to share our experiences with you. This podcast is designed to provide inspiration and support for educators considering leadership roles. We plan to discuss a range of topics related to educational leadership to help you on your journey to become and thrive as a school leader.
In this episode, we'll be discussing when we were ready to lead the classroom. First, Matt, how you doing today?
Great. This is a good topic.
It is. You know what, though? Can I say something before we start?
Yeah.
So part of this, we've talked about doing a reflective journey, right? This is part of the reason we're doing the podcast.
That's right.
So a listener did reach out to me, and he shared a little bit of insight, and I'm going to try and stay true to that. Okay?
Okay.
Do you remember what it was I told you before the show? It was about not saying, that's a great question.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I say it too much. So his point was that if we say it's a great question to one question, that means the other ones aren't great. And maybe if we're doing that in a room full of people, they might devalue their contribution. So I'm going to try.
That's good feedback.
And not say great question. And thank you for that.
Yeah, it's good feedback for us.
Let's see if we can make it through the
I think
episode.
we're both guilty of that.
We're very guilty of
Yep.
it. Okay, we're working on that. So thanks for that feedback. Really important. Okay, so we're going to talk about when we were ready to leave the classroom and pursue some different leadership opportunities as educators. So like we said, the topic did come from a podcast listener, and we're definitely happy to share a bit about our experience with that. So I'm going to start with a quick story. You brace yourself, Matt. You bracing yourself?
I'm ready for it.
Okay, good. So I'm going to take you all the way back to my high school experience.
Oh, wow. We're going way back.
Sorry,
eh?
I had to.
So it's not a quick story.
No, it's not. It's going to be quick. So sometimes, maybe people see something in us that we don't see in ourselves. Would you agree with that?
Oh, of course.
So in this case, some of my high school friends, comrades, classmates saw something in me that I did not see in myself, and something I shied away from for a long time. So here's a quick little fact for you. So, when they do like the yearbooks and they do like, most likely to succeed, all these sorts of categories, and you vote on someone.
The end of grade 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was friends with the people that were doing the tallies. So they told me before they published it that I was voted as most likely to become a high school principal.
Look at you, eh?
Yeah, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, no, I cannot. That cannot be. No. Like I was too cool to be that. I didn't want to be that.
That's hilarious.
I couldn't believe they saw me.
What were you
that.
like in high school to be voted most likely to be that?
That's what I was wondering. So I played it up, and I made the person actually change what I got as the award because I was so embarrassed by it. So I feel bad that I, made them switch my award recognition, but that's hilarious. So I was embarrassed by it, but the truth is someone actually might have saw that in me, and I was just maybe denying it all these years.
Or a few people.
A few people. Yeah, I guess I got more than one vote. But
yeah.
So that's my quick story on it. I guess my high school principal story goes all the way back to then, which, I've never really shared that out loud before. So thinking about it, looking back now, I would say that it started with, for sure, my teaching journey. So I think I mentioned before in one of our early episodes that I landed my dream job straight out of Teachers College, which was physical education teacher. I loved that job. I thought if I did that for the rest of my life, I would be happy, and I would have been for sure. But as I got going on in that job, I was, after 6 years of being a permanent teacher in that curriculum area, I was forced to move schools. So it wasn't by choice. I was moved because we had declining enrollment at our school, and I was put into a new situation where I was teaching something outside of that discipline. And at first it hurt because I had a lot of my identity wrapped up in what I was doing as a physical education teacher, to the point that I even had like a blog way back in the day about being a physical education teacher. And then I got moved schools, and guess what? I wasn't a physical education teacher anymore. I was just a teacher. Well, a teacher's an amazing thing to be. And I realized about myself during that time that I could teach whatever. Didn't have to be phys ed, because phys ed was good for me. But what I learned from teaching something else was that I could do more than just that. So I think that's the starting point for me to realize I don't have to just be this one thing. There's other things that I could be, and I have potential to be something else. So after that 1 year in a new context, I ended up going back to my familiar context of being in phys ed again, but in a new role as a leader, as a curriculum leader, as a program head at a different school. So that experience really got me thinking about working with adults and how I want to be a champion for teachers. And I feel like I always kind of was cheering for teachers, supporting teachers, because even though when I was one as well, and trying to move teachers forward, that's something that I felt was a calling for me to help people move forward. And a quick little anecdote on that: when I was tasked with being a program head at a school that I attended as my first chance of being a curriculum leader in physical education, the department that I worked for was made up of extremely veteran teachers, amazing teachers that have been pillars of that community for very, very long. And I would say the hard part about walking into that context was that if there's going to be any change happening when these people have been here for a long time, and I'm not sure how much change has been happening during that time. So my biggest aha moment was when one of the oldest members of the department, I was very leery about pushing too much on them because I know that they've established something really great there. And I was very subtle, but what I tried to do was show them something in the way that I approached my class or a new thing I was trying. And my biggest aha moment was when they came to me and said, Jordan, I saw you doing that thing. I'm going to try that in my class. I thought, whoa, that's amazing. Like this legend in my mind who I thought, the routine probably stayed the same since the 1950s, because they had a good system. Not saying they didn't have a good system, but they decided to try something new because they saw me do something else. I think that's the essence of leadership. And it got me thinking about, moving teachers forward. And there's more than one way to do that. And for this person, it was just seeing something. So that got me really interested in, moving adults forward to help them be better for students. Also seeing people in leadership roles that were believable and relatable to me helped me realize, I think I could do that. So even when I had my first inkling of maybe I could be an administrator, I was then seeking out models of those people that I thought, that person's kind of like me. I think I could do that. They have a young family and they're in the role. I think then maybe I can do that. So I was looking for kind of validation of my idea of, hey, like, can I really do this? Well, look, they can do it. So then maybe I can do it. And that's when I really got thinking about pursuing the role of administration. And then, to get into a role of administration, you have to be ready. So once I realized that this is something I was interested in, I obviously was, a little bit consumed with the idea, I would say. But you never know how it works. It's very cyclical, kind of like teaching when jobs become available or they're not available. And my, best move at that time in my mind was just to be ready. So when I am called, that I'm ready, that I got my credentials, that I did my courses, that I readied myself in as many ways possible so that when it came time for the interview or the opportunity, because you never know when you're going to be called, that you were ready. So my whole idea was just to be ready. So again, took my courses, did my master's, and was ready. So when the time came, I was ready to take up the opportunity. So I know I said a lot of different things there about when I realized it was time for me to leave the classroom, when I was ready to leave the classroom. But it really started with thinking about the adults and how can I help the adults and my colleagues. That was the biggest shift in my mind. I leave it there.
Okay, well, I got a question. I got a follow-up question. So yeah, you helped adults as a program head, right? And you shared that example of how, just kind of leading by example, somebody took what you were trying and applied it to their own class. But why, or how did you know that you were ready to move into administration and give up the classroom?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. And thanks for the question, Matt.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, I just think that I started to feel like I was called to help support the adults, and I was ready to leave the students because I felt like I could still connect with the students in some way if I was, and maybe I'm not doing a good job of that now, but I felt like I'd still be able to be connected to students even in an administrative role. And one thing I really loved about teaching, especially teaching phys ed, was the coaching aspect of it. And I still have desire to do that in my life outside of education and even inside of education. I know you mentioned coaching your children and being involved with that, how that kind of scratches the itch for you in terms of being connected to students and learning.
Yeah.
And that's something that I felt I could still always be connected to, even if I was administrator.
Yeah. And I should say, you are connected with kids. You got your caseload,
it's hard.
But not to say that it's different. Not to say that you're connected with everyone, right? You're connected with certain kids in a different way. Yeah.
So what about you? When did you start to feel like I could leave the classroom now?
Yeah, that's a good topic for us. Look at us. This is hard.
It's thanks for the
Jeez.
question.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I look at that. We had something similar happen to us. Like, again, we used to teach together way back in the day.
The
right?
best.
In our first job, first role. But, I also had to leave schools twice because of declining enrollment. And I think that kind of taught me like somewhere along the way, I started to work with people and saw things a bit differently. I learned from everyone I worked with and tried to keep an open mind to the practices I was seeing as I moved to a couple different schools. So I taught at 3. And I started to see things that were working and things that weren't working. And I kind of got this itch to really just try to improve something about my job, improve something about my classroom. And just came to the point, I was always searching for something and not satisfied with what I was seeing. And I started to get to the point where, I was having success as a teacher and, my kids were learning and, I was satisfied with that. And then people started to see me as a program head. And I was like, oh no, I didn't want to do that. And I don't know why I would say that looking back. Maybe it was more thinking about, I don't want to be seen like that, or I don't want to be seen as a climber, or, I just look back at that and think that's almost like an immature way to look at somebody giving you a compliment, right? And thinking about getting to a point where, somebody taking me under their wing, right? Like a mentor of ours, and just saying you can do this. Let's they pulled the curtain back a little bit for me, and I started to learn more about it. And I'm like, you know what? I do want that job or that role. And then becoming a program head, and then people would say, well, so do you want to be an administrator? Right away, the first week I got that program head position. And I would say no, I never want to be an administrator. Why would I want to do that job? Right. And then, but again, having a mentor that showed you more. And then the more I learned about those different roles, the more I saw the value in that and how I could impact not just my class, and then, moving, not just looking at my department, but now looking at the school and the school board in general. I always thought, as a principal, you're not just trying to improve your own school, you're trying to improve all the schools in your school board. And just wanting the desire to do that, and just, again, not being satisfied, and, you learning more, and you're just thinking to yourself, I am ready to get out of the class and work with adults and just have a greater impact. And I think, you're a step removed from the class and students, but at the same time, I think you have a greater reach. And I think, outside of a teacher, obviously, the principal has the second biggest impact on what happens in the school, or in the classroom. So, and that's what I crave that now. Yeah. And I crave to solve those problems or help, increase student achievement, not looking at things as a problem, but really impacting kids and their experience in high school and their life. And you're working with families now, and it's quite a rewarding job. And, once you leave the class, you just realize there's still a place for those relationships with kids and families, and it's different for sure, but it's obviously rewarding. And I think I got to the point where I was ready when I just felt I just wanted something different, right? Yeah. And it's hard to explain, but you're used to working with adults, and I just felt like I was ready to move on.
Great. Now, follow-up question for you.
Yeah.
So you had a bit of a different journey than me, whereas you were removed from the classroom before you actually stepped into an administrative role.
Yep.
So maybe speak a little bit to that.
You make it sound like I was removed, like it was a bad thing.
No, you weren't removed. You were out of the classroom.
Yep. Without
being an administrator. I didn't have that experience. So how was that time? What did that teach you about being away from your class?
Yeah. And, at that time, what Jordan's talking about is I became a consultant at our school board. And, at that point, I knew I wanted to be an administrator. Yeah. I had already, taken my courses, and like Jordan was talking about, I was ready and did things to make sure I was ready when I got called. But I wanted a different experience too, and to see what it was like at all different schools and working with adults from kindergarten right through to grade 12 and administrators and superintendents. And like I wanted that time to be able to do that. I knew that wasn't the final destination for me. I didn't think that, I wanted to be a consultant for the next decade or anything like that, but I wanted that opportunity to learn more. And it was all about like learning while I was waiting, really, is what it came down to. And again, trying to have that impact on more classrooms and people. And like that did nothing but help me get ready for this job too.
Yeah, I would say that must be a very valuable experience before stepping into the role of administrator, especially working so closely with school board staff, senior leadership, understanding their vision and mission, maybe on a bit of a more, I guess, insider level than someone that might be still in a classroom, because you do have a lot of obligations when you are teaching and your focus is obviously squarely on the students, but having that chance to kind of liaise with senior admin probably, maybe, do you think it helped you get ready for that role?
Oh, absolutely. And, I just watch different people every day and just see how they operated. And, everything from how they conducted themselves in small conversations or how they ran meetings or what their visioning was and how they came to that. I also really realized like I'm a forest person too. I like the overview of a school or a school board. I love that. And seeing how things are operating everywhere versus like the micro and really zooming in, that was great for me in the classroom, but I've realized like I love that big overview of things. And do you notice anything about that for you as a principal? Like, are you a trees person or are you a forest person? If I'm gonna,
I think you know the answer to that one.
Yeah,
I'm forest.
Yeah, I wonder if
For sure.
all administrators are. That's just as I think about that,
or,
right?
Yeah, or either they are or they're forced to be, based on the the volume of the inputs that we get on the day to day. I think it might be easier to operate that way. Keep your sanity as a forest person.
Yeah,
but we appreciate the people that are trees.
Yeah. Oh, well, you need them. Oh my goodness. Right.
Yeah.
I need them specifically.
People keep us afloat.
That's right. And again, speaking while I know I was ready to leave is because I wanted to see more forests out there, for like a lack of a better analogy.
That's a great point.
Right. And I just wanted to continue to have that experience rather than just continue to focus on the 30 students in my class.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, I think it's important to maybe we can discuss quickly what maybe are not good reasons to want to leave the classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Throw that in there.
That's a great idea.
Sprung that on you. No, it's not a great idea. It's just, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah. It's not a great question. Okay, so
I'll go off the bat. I'll start with one.
Okay.
Answering my own question. Increase in pay. Not a great reason.
No.
First of all, it's not that much.
No, you're not going to notice it the same. I'll tell you that right now. You are going to miss having that relationship with 30 kids, right, at a time, where you like are in your room and you like the relationship between a teacher and a student is special, right? And how you conduct your classroom, that's a special place for people, and the kids are going to remember that, right? So you're not going to have that the same at all.
How about like status? People thinking, I should be administrator for it's like status.
What status?
Yeah, I know. I'm laughing at my own question.
There you go, right?
Yeah. I mean, you just serve so differently in that role, and it just become who you are, serving. You're just serving.
Right. There's no perks. Like, what are the perks, right?
Come on, there's perks. Don't do
like
that.
You shouldn't do it for a laptop, right? Like, don't do that.
No.
Don't do it for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Free laptop, phone.
Yeah, don't do it for those things.
No, those aren't good reasons.
It's not going to sustain you, right? You really got to think about what's going to sustain you in that job for however long you're going to do it.
Yeah, I would say, well, maybe you can answer this too. It was more so that I was feeling called to go into the next position than I need to get out of the one I'm in.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen some people maybe it felt like that's how they were viewing their job like, oh, I need a change, that's probably not the best reason to pursue administration.
You know what? That's funny they brought that up. We had an administrator talk to me about, them being really happy to be an administrator now and they love it, but they did it to get out of the class because they needed a change and they immediately regretted it. And a better change would have been, trying to teach in a different department or switching a school versus taking this on. And it didn't go well for them initially, although it's great now. But just that person reflecting on that experience.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I would say, to finish off, happiness is definitely like an inside job, right? So when I was, and Matt, maybe you can relate to this, when you were moved, not by choice because of, declining enrollment, you had a choice how you were going to approach that. And it wasn't like you needed all these external things to satisfy. You had to find a way to make it work for yourself. So I would say the same thing as an educator. If you're feeling like you've outgrown the classroom, administration isn't the logical next step always, right? There's other things that you can do. And maybe you need to, like, I still had a passion when I left what I was doing. I would have been fine to stay there. I still felt great about it. I was fired up to come to work every day. So it shouldn't be because you're trying to leave something.
And by the way, isn't it great to be in classes?
Yeah, it's actually the best.
Right?
Yeah.
Like whenever you're having a bad day, like for me, what I do is I get into a class or be with the students in the hall and it changes my mood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's some days, I'm not going to lie, I look out my window because I used to, teach physical education. I see the classes on the field and I'm like responding to emails. I'm like, what did I do?
Oh, of course. I'm sure.
No, I don't. It only happens like once or twice. Usually in June, I'm like, whoa, that looks nice out there.
Yeah, there you go.
But I also know that the teachers on the other side of that are working their tails off.
Yeah.
And they're providing some amazing stuff for students. So it's not a trading situation.
No, it's not.
Right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Ready to wrap us up?
Okay, let's go. Everyone, thank you for listening to the Becoming a Principal podcast. We are grateful for the time you have spent with us today, and we hope we've been helpful in some way. Be sure to check out our Instagram at Becoming a Principal podcast. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.